Lisa, what is wrong with you? Why can't you help Mom? You know she has never asked any of us for anything, I yelled at my sister. Exactly! Zara, she never asked for anything, so why are you pushing this?
Because she is your mother, our mother. Last year was hard for her. She was sick, and because of that, she's behind on her mortgage. If we don't help her, she's going to lose the house.
She has her two favorite people to help her. I worked hard for everything I have. I wasn't given anything unlike you two. She doesn't need me, and I don't need her. Get out of my office before I call security. Lisa sat behind her desk and folded her arms. My brother grabbed my arm before I could lunge at my sister. Hi, my name is Zara. Before I continue my crazy story, like and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that notification bell. Okay, now that you've done all that, let's get back to the story. I can't believe her, I growled at the dinner table that night.
You know, Lisa was always stubborn.
Shamar said as he piled more chicken onto his plate. What she needs is someone to whoop her butt. But I've got something better planned. I smiled slyly.
I know that face. What are you thinking?
If she doesn't want to help her mother, then there are a few ways to loosen her grip on her money. I'm so sick of her thinking she's better than us because she has money. I got up and retrieved my laptop. I will add Lisa to a dating site with her picture. Of course, saying how much money she has, and the fact that she enjoys the finer things in life, I said dramatically.
I don't think this is the best way to go.
Anyway, I said after ignoring Shamar, once we set her up, the gold diggers will come running. Then we pay him to do what he does best, even marry her. She needs to be taken down a few notches from that high horse she's been riding the past few years. After creating the profile, I waited for the message to roll in. After dinner the next night, Shamar and I checked Lisa's fake profile and searched through the many messages and chose someone who we thought would be the perfect gold digger for our plot. His name was Bryce Morgan. Shamar and I set up a meeting with Bryce and explained exactly what we wanted him to do. Make her spend her money extravagantly. We wanted weekly updates on what was going on as well. We also agreed on how much we were going to pay him. After the meeting, we told Bryce the usual places that Lisa hangs out. After a few days, I wanted to reach out to Bryce to find out how things were going, but Shamar told me not to spook him by being clingy.
We told him to reach out to us every week. Let the man do what we paid him to do without interruptions,
he said. I couldn't help but feel excited as Bryce's number finally lit up my phone. I called Shamar and I quickly put the call on loudspeaker. Hey, Bryce, how are you? And how are things with Lisa? I asked excitedly.
Hey, Zara, things are actually going great on this end. Just like any professional gold digger, I made sure that I spent my money on a very lavish first date. I'll let her get comfortable with me paying for everything. Once I get her hooked on that comfort, after a few weeks, I will slowly start to fall back and leave my wallet at home or make suggestions about things I'll want along the way. By that time, she'll be hooked and wouldn't even know it. Do you think she suspects anything?
Shamar asked.
No, she doesn't. Must say though, she was a tough cookie to crack, but I've got her where I want her. We'll be going on our second date tomorrow night. Might even fly her out to Paris for a week.
Shamar and I exchanged looks. I mouthed to him, maybe I should get a gold digger. We both laughed softly. We thanked Bryce for the update and hung up. Every week after that, Bryce called on time with weekly updates. Shamar and I visited Lisa a few times at the office, and she wasn't there, which wasn't like her. Janice, her secretary, said, I've never seen her so happy with a man. So you've met him already? Oh, Janice said, I just thought that she introduced him to you guys already. I don't want to overstep my boundaries. It's okay, Janice. We wouldn't say anything. What do you think about him? He's been nothing but the perfect gentleman to her. Honestly, if I found a man like that, I would never let him get away. Shamar and I thanked Janice and walked to the car.
Zara, I think we should tell Lisa about this before she gets too invested.
I looked at Shamar with disbelief. Too late, bro. The wheels are already in motion.
Aren't you a bit worried things might go sideways?
Why should I be? So even if it does go sideways as you think it might, if we get her to stop being such a Scrooge, then it would be worth it. Just don't tell her anything. We are in this together. After the first 3 months, Lisa began to come around and decided to help Mom out. I looked at Shamar with a "I told you so" look, and he shrugged. Later that evening, I told Shamar that once we got Mom up to speed on her mortgage, we needed to find a way to break up Lisa and Bryce so she would never know we were involved. Shamar agreed.
But didn't you tell him to marry Lisa the last time we chatted?
Stop worrying about the details, Shamar. People get divorced all the time, and I don't see a man like Bryce being faithful for too long. Stop overthinking it. When that time comes, we will fix it. The next week, Bryce did not call as scheduled. Shamar said that we should give him some slack since he has been calling and giving updates regularly. By the time the second week rolled around, Shamar also began to wonder. We decided to check on Lisa at the office since she wasn't answering her phone, which, by the way, was a Lisa trait, so we weren't too worried when we got her voicemail.
Hi, Janice. Is Lisa in?
Shamar asked as we approached her desk. Lisa has been away from the office for the past 2 weeks. Do you know where she went? I asked. No, but she did say that she should not be disturbed unless it's an emergency. I'm actually happy that Lisa is getting a chance to relax. She hasn't taken a vacation in 5 years, so she plans on using her time wisely. Did she go with Bryce? Janice nodded. But don't ask me where they went because I have no idea. We thanked Janice and walked out the office and headed to the car.
Do you think he married her already?
Shamar asked. I'm not sure, but why not tell us about it?
I don't like this,
Shamar said as we waited for Bryce's scheduled call.
This is the 3rd week with no contact, and Lisa still isn't answering our calls or messages.
So what do you think we should do? I asked, refusing to admit that this had gone too far, even though my stomach was in knots.
I think it's time to get the police involved.
Shamar and I went to the police station to make a report and file a missing persons report. The police said that there was nothing they could do about it since Lisa told Janice that she was going on vacation. Shamar said that they had not been able to contact Lisa in 3 weeks, and it wasn't like her. After a while, the police finally decided to look into Lisa's disappearance. Shamar gave them a listing of all Lisa's getaway spots in the country. They also said they would check the airlines to see if she left the country. Do you think they will really look into it? I asked Shamar as he opened the door for us to exit.
Honestly, I really don't know,
he said grimly. That night, Shamar and I decided to confess to Mom what we did. If anything happens to Lisa, I will never forgive the both of you. Mom walked away, leaving Shamar and I feeling helpless and filled with regrets about what we did. Did you call the station? I asked, frustratedly.
Yes, but still no leads,
Shamar said as he slammed his phone on the kitchen counter. It's been 2 months. What do you mean they don't have any leads? I don't think they're even looking for her. I grabbed my keys and said, time to take matters into my own hands. I walked to the front door and opened it. Shamar! I screamed. Shamar came running immediately. He screamed as he pushed past me to hug her. Shamar, I need to breathe, Lisa said jokingly. He let her go and grinned. Where's Mom? Lisa asked. She's at work, but she'll be home shortly, I responded. Are you coming in? No, I just came to tell you guys the great news. Shamar and I looked at each other before returning our attention to her. I got married, she said, flashing her ring in front of our faces. Before I could respond, she continued. I'd like you guys to meet him, so I want to take you guys and Mom out to dinner tonight, so you could meet him. And before I forget, I watched as Lisa dug into her purse and pulled out a piece of paper and handed it to me. That check should cover the rest of Mom's payment for the mortgage. Lisa gave us the name of the restaurant, the address, and the time to meet before disappearing into her car that was parked in the driveway. So he did marry her, I said, closing the front door.
Now all we need is a plan to get rid of Bryce.
See, I told you it would work out, I said, relieved. We went over to the restaurant. She said she would meet us for 7. It's already 7:30. I looked towards the entrance of the restaurant. Your sister is always late. I thought you'd be accustomed to it by now, Mom chuckled before taking a sip of the wine. Before heading out to dinner, the 3 of them decided that it would be best to come up with a plan together to get Bryce out of the picture.
Here she comes,
Shamar said as he stood to greet them. I watched the newlywed couple walk towards us. Suddenly, I heard a glass shatter next to me. I turned towards my mother. She looked as though she had just seen a ghost, which was quickly followed by rage. She stood up and charged at Bryce, Shamar and I not knowing what to do. Joel, what are you doing here with my daughter?" Lisa looked at Shamar and I, then at Mom. "Mom, this is Bryce, my husband." "So this is where you've been all this time with my daughter? I thought you were on an important business trip. Lisa, this man has played you for a fool." "Mom?" I asked in confusion. "You know Bryce?" "His name isn't Bryce, it's Joel, and I thought you loved me." Mom turned to Bryce. He didn't say anything. I watched as Mom stormed off and Shamar went to console her. By now, everyone in the restaurant was looking in our direction.
Baby,
Bryce said, taking Lisa's hand.
I have no idea what that woman was. I've never seen her in my life. You know that I will never hurt you. I love you too much.
Despite the looks from the other customers, Lisa and Bryce sat down. The tension at the table could cut through steel. Bryce's phone rang and he excused himself to answer it, saying it was a business call. "It's now or never," I mumbled as I cleared my throat. "Look, Lisa, there is something I need to confess to you." I told Lisa everything. I told her about the fake profile and hiring Bryce to soften her up and marry her so that she would be willing to help with Mom's mortgage. I told her Shamar wanted nothing to do with it and it was all my idea. "You know, for a sister, you've done some really crappy things, Zara. This, by far, is the worst." Tears streamed down my face as Lisa got up and exited the restaurant. Over the next few days, Shamar and I tried to call and visit Lisa. She changed her phone number, and we were no longer allowed to enter her office building. We even drove to her house, but the only thing we saw was a for sale sign on our gate.
What did you expect to happen, Zara? I should have never let you talk me into it. But I also made that choice to deceive Lisa. Now, we just have to wait until she's ready to speak to us.
Is Mom going to be okay?
Mom will be fine. She did confess, though, that the reason she missed some payments was because she was giving Bryce money.
I really messed up, but at least Mom got to see Bryce for who he was.
I guess, but you really need to leave, Lisa, and let her get through this. I believe when she's ready, she's going to come around.
After a few months of not seeing Lisa, I decided to make a video telling Lisa how sorry I was, and I hoped that she would forgive me. I did not go into details about what transpired, but I just wanted to let her know that I loved her, and I just want to make amends. About a week later, I got a phone call from Dr. Shirley Thomas. She was a counselor. She said that she was calling on behalf of Lisa, and Lisa requested a family session with me, Shamar, and Mom, so that we could work through this together. After the first few sessions, Lisa told us that she forgave us, but she still needed time to process some of her hurt. She also told us that she divorced Bryce and his real name was Matthew Miller. My family and I still go to weekly counseling sessions because mending our family and keeping it together is the most important thing for us right now. Don't be afraid to get the help that you need. Therapy works as long as you allow it to.